Welcome to the Homebrew Crew. I'm Tony, this is Sean, and today we're going to be going over some pretty interesting monsters, homebrew monsters, and those will be edible, I think.
Yes, they're actually going to be edible oozes. That's going to be today's theme for the video. So we were looking through D&D Beyond, and we were kind of looking at oozes because I feel like they're a little bit of a underutilized creature in D&D.
Sure.
When really they're actually really good to use. I mean, they can be hidden in plain sight. They can split into several different pieces, creating kind of more monsters for your party to encounter.
Squeezing into small areas and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fantastic. You can even have them hide as food, which some of the things that we have today are going to kind of go over that. Just wanted to send a shout out to some of the creators on this too. We just wanted to share your creations with the world. If you'd like to hear more about it, or if you have a monster creation that you want to share with us, definitely send it our way. And with that, we get to our first monster, the apple jelly.
Yes, and this is actually the highest rated ooze at the recording of this video. So congratulations to the author, Fly. This is actually made about a year ago. So it's a large ooze, and it's really interesting because it has kind of the typical characteristics of an ooze. It has the split ability. It does about 3d6 bludgeoning damage whenever it hits something. But it has some kind of interesting features. The most notable being the delicious feature, which I've never even seen in a monster before. Yeah,
it's absolutely delicious. I think this is probably by far one of the coolest things that I've seen in any homebrew creation recently, and we just kind of stumbled upon it as we were going through monsters in the list. Delicious. When the monster is dead, when it's defeated, you can eat it.
Yeah, it's kind of like playing a video game. You know, you kill an enemy and then it drops some health. But this is like to a T. This is what it is. I think it's a great feature to have. It's obviously rewarding the party for slaying this monster. But I think it kind of opens up like good narrative. Like, you know, you have like a dumb character that's like, ooh, that looks kind of good, and then it just takes a slurp out of the foe that you just defeated.
The person who does take that slurp gets 1d10 back in hit points, which is kind of neat. And you can still split this monster into several sections by attacking it with its normal stuff like lightning or slashing damage with it, right? So it's kind of a neat thing. I would throw these in maybe, Apple Orchard is one way to go with it. But, you know, maybe you've got a cook's kitchen that...
right. You know, and his recipe went wrong or something.
Right. And now, wow, that's actually a pretty good idea.
Oh my God, I'm going to take that one.
But this is just one of the ones that we have. The other next one on there, what good is apple pie without something to drink? So our next one is the ale ooze. And the ale ooze has some interesting features too.
Yeah, so this one comes from the author Front Butt. Thank you again. So this one's actually kind of the opposite. This one actually hurts you. So obviously the main thing is it can look like a regular mug of ale. It can look like a beer, or you can write this into some kind of liquor, basically.
We would be doomed.
Yeah, we would die.
This one could actually invade the homebrew crew. And then it's got a few things on there like the quench their thirst with it, right? So what does that end up doing? Because it's if a person's restrained by it or what have you, and they have to make a strength check against what it is, right? And then they've got this stomach home feature where the ale, if somebody had drank it accidentally, it automatically does the 1d4 acid damage, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, I can already kind of think of this scenario where you have that player drink it and, you know, everything seems okay, and then a couple seconds later they start to not feel good and they wonder like what's going on. And I think this one kind of opens up a lot. Like you can put this in like any tavern in a campaign, which is always good.
Or cook's kitchen. Again.
Yeah, exactly. This cook's kitchen thing is going to become a campaign, I think. I swear.
See, and there's kind of this stuff here too. So intoxicating vapors. After the ale sublimates its ale into vapor, it fills a disc centered on the ale ooze, 10-foot radius, 5 feet thick. All creatures in the area affect by either the calm emotion spell or the confusion spell. That's hilarious.
It's an AoE drunk spell.
I think that's freaking great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like some of these things, and I think the cool thing about both of these is that they not only incorporate, food into it, but at the same time, it's mechanics that you don't normally think about, things you don't normally do. You know? You don't really have anything for drunken players.
Yeah,
You know
definitely.
what I mean?
That being said, these are tricky to kind of just toss in out of nowhere. It's not really like a goblin that you're going to run into it like every day, or you're going to find a wild ale ooze. But, you know, I think if you have the opportunity to use things like this, I think it's going to be really awesome. Like, you can really add those epic moments to your campaign.
And it's things that weren't created with the Monster Manual, and there's things that weren't, you know, they're not necessarily in there. So your players are going to be kind of shocked and surprised by it. It adds this whole little mystery thing to it, especially with any homebrew. We do that. But that kind of pulls us into our next food.
Yeah, and this one's a bit different. This one's a lot larger than an apple or an ale. This one comes from KMurphy_TX. This is the jelly jar.
Oh.
Grape flavor, specifically.
Oh, okay. I used to have those with peanut butter sandwiches before. So how bad could it possibly be?
Well, imagine a large, probably about 10-footer jar, not walking, not floating, but spinning 360.
It actually spins around the ground.
Yeah, and it's great. It's kind of specifically in the description. This large jar of jelly kind of just like gravitating towards you. You kind of hear the whirring of the grinding of the bottom of the jar. I think just as a concept, without even getting into any of the features of this, it's just great. I mean,
this could be our boss.
Exactly.
Our
or
kitchen.
if the players shrink for some odd reason, you know, you can use this as like it's a giant jar, but it's really not. Or like a weird dream sequence. I think this with some of the other oozes. I mean, like this in particular is just kind of cool because again, it's so out there.
But I see this thing here, and it's got tentacles that come out of the jar.
Yeah.
And they grab you with things, and it can absorb a target that it's been grappling and everything like that. The spinning slam is hilarious, though. The jelly jar spins as it moves towards its destination, hitting any creatures and objects in its path. I think that's cool. Targets are knocked back one space to the side they're already on. If the target is standing to the left or the right of the jelly jar, he or she is knocked one space farther in the same direction. It's this spinning huge jar with tentacles that are coming out. It's great.
Yeah, again, I think this is kind of cool because it kind of utilizes another thing, like just like pushing your players can do a lot. You know, if you push them a square here or a square there, it kind of throws them off, and now they can't take that opportunity attack, or now they're not in the proper spot.
They could fall into an apple jelly.
Yeah, right, exactly. Combo
it's dangerous.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, I'd like to send a shout out to all three of these creators because these are fantastic, great oozes. We plan on using them in our campaign, and just thought you folks might find them interesting as well. Again, that is the jelly jar, the ale ooze, and the #1 rated ooze right now, the apple jelly.
And if you have anything that you want to send us through the D&D Beyond homebrew section, or if you just want to send to us directly, we can give you advice. We can see what else you can add to this monster that you want to create. Or if you just want to go over it and have us say how awesome it is, that's an option as well. So be sure to send it to us either through D&D Beyond as a personal message, or you can send us an email, send us a message through Facebook, YouTube, Reddit. We're kind of open on all avenues.
We're going everywhere. Once again, that email address is dmbrewcrew@gmail.com. Remember, the best campaigns are always the ones that are home brewed, even with the ale ooze. So until next time,
keep brewing.